Okay, hello everyone. This is Leo. My full name is Leonardo Espinosa Benavides. I am a Chilean science fiction writer and I'm also a physician. And I created this channel to talk a little bit about science fiction written in Spanish because I usually don't find uh, videos about it in English. So I think it could contribute to make it more approachable for a wider audience. And well, the story about this video is that I actually did one just a few minutes ago that in which I talked about for an hour and a half, and then I accidentally did many mistakes that ended up with me losing that video. And I'm just recovering from that mental breakdown because I lost 90 minutes of video recording. So, but then I thought might be some kind of divine signal, señal divina, because and I thought, well, who's gonna watch a video that's 90 minutes? I mean, I wouldn't. Um, I think. So what I'm gonna do now, it's something quite after something really bad happens to you, which is I'm just gonna try to make this video more approachable, like for I don't know, 10 minutes or something. So if you find this video to be a little bit strange or fast paced, keep in mind that I just lost 90 minutes of this. So this is just an experiment to to convince myself that I did not lose all that work. So something might come out of this. Okay, so I'm going to tell you about the history of Chilean science fiction, but it's going to be a more approachable video. It's going to be fast paced, I know, but you're going to have the slides in there. I'm going to put them there, so you can just pause and read the name of the books or something like that. And then in the end, I'm just going to let you know a little bit of what I've been doing. So I hope you like it. Let's go. Let's do this. Let's do this. I think it's gonna work. I truly think it's gonna work. So, okay, so what I'm gonna use is this presentation that I use for a Colombian talking that they invited me to. We had a lot of fun, great time. So I'm gonna use this PowerPoint. So let's talk about science fiction. If you wanna learn about Chilean science fiction, first step is there is uh, a really cool body of work of Chilean science fiction. Oh, I just remembered that in the previous video, my microphone also died. So I hope that this short version, the microphone does not die. Let's hope so. Anyway, Chilean science fiction is real. When I did this presentation, I talked about science fiction in the first place and like, what is science fiction? But I think that's going to be too long. We all know that science fiction is hard to define. So let's assume that we all kind of know. If you ask me, I like the definition of Darko Suvin, if you want to look that up. But when I talk to a wider audience, I usually talked about what Philip K. Dick described as science fiction, basically the literature that deals with the plausible. And I like to imagine that when you combine philosophy, scientific thought, and art, you get science fiction. Of course, the name is gonna inevitably change. Now we're getting closer to, say, speculative science, speculative fiction. I think it's right because the genre itself is it's a very dynamic, and and it's probably older than what we usually say, but that's not the topic here. So you all know about classic science fiction. There you have Frankenstein, The War of the Worlds, Jules Verne, or I don't know how to pronounce that in English. And of course, in the United States, you have the Golden Age. But the thing is, what happens in Chile? Well, that's Chile, the small, narrow country over there. We do have science fiction. And what happened was in 1984, some French guy said something. He said that Chilean science fiction only existed from 1959 to the 70s, and we got kind of upset because we thought that we had more than that. So that, boom, exploded to us analyzing our history, and we came to discover our science fiction. So that French guy, when he was teasing us, he actually did us a favor. So now we know about our science fiction. And if you want to choose one to start, this is the first one. The first novel would be From Jupiter, Desde Júpiter in Spanish. Of course, I don't believe in that thing about the first of something because you can always find something else. I think, at least in terms of books. But anyway, to characterize that period, you have this novel, 1870. So that would be a start, at least of what we kind of understand as science fiction. Because again, the definition could be confusing, and I believe it's older than we think. But at least in Chile, this kind of feels like science fiction. So we say this is the beginning. It's about a guy from Santiago that does some kind of magnetizing weird stuff, and he ends up in Jupiter. You can free download it from our national library, which is fine. So that's the first step. Then we have something that I call the early period. When I say I think, this is kind of my approach, but there is a consensus of what I'm telling you. I'm not, you're going to find this, but mostly in Spanish, and this is my simplified approach to talk about some periods of time. So there you have the early, but I have the sources. That's what I wanted to let you know. I'm not making this up. Well, so the early period, what's the characteristic of the early period? From the 20s to the 50s, you get several authors, but they never publish more than 1 or 2 books of science fiction. So you get all these kind of messy books that we've been finding all these last times. But then you have the almost golden age of science fiction. Yes, the guy from the right is Hugo Correa, and he was a friend, well, kind of, but let's say for explanation's sake that he was a friend of Ray Bradbury. So he got a good contact. So he published a lot, and he became like our Ray Bradbury in a sense. That he was part of this almost golden age, because this is the first time that we have professional Chilean writers doing science fiction. So when the French guy said that Chilean science fiction started in 1959, it was because this book from this guy got published, and it was really important. And actually, there is this important scholar, Rene Bell. She's got a PhD in Spanish Latin American literature from Stanford, and she has credited Hugo Correa as being like a very important writer of science fiction in all Latin America. So he was a big deal. But he was not alone. We have our big three, which is Hugo Correa, the one to the right. In the middle, you have Antonio Montero. And to the left, you have Elena Aldunate. They were friends, and they wrote a lot of science fiction at that time. Some books of them, you can pause this time and see them, really cool books. And then what happens in the 70s, the French guy said there is no more science fiction at that time. Well, what happened was our dictatorship era. So as you can imagine, not so much free speech and all that comes along, but in that time you got we had a lot of political science fiction, although many writers were in the exile, but at least there was some people created like the Chilean science fiction fandom at this time, because that's at least what they could do. So some good came out of that. That's the main thing about the 70s and 90s, the fandom, I would say, as the most important stuff. Some books from that time, of course, very political. And then we arrive to this 21st century period. New era, really important. What's the main thing about this time? Smaller publishing houses that started working on this kind of literature, which had never happened before, because the big editorials would not publish science fiction, and more authors. Now we're talking that the dictatorship was over by this time, so democracy came back, so you have more authors that were doing collaborations between them and internationally. And as an example, for example, all the way to the right, you get that book from Mario Bustos Ponce. He's an active author nowadays, and he published with Puerto de Escape, which was the first of these small publishing houses that started publishing science fiction and fantasy. They are still working on it, and they were the first to make the example for others that would come later on. And they are actually the ones publishing science fiction nowadays in Chile, and they're doing an awesome job. I think we're currently in the best time of science fiction here in Chile. And the book in the middle is just an example of collaboration between authors. That's an anthology. It's a 6th volume. Bunch of writers are published together. So good collaboration. And on the left, you get Capclave. What's important about that? It's that that's to work as an example of when I told you about the international collaborations to describe this 21st period. And what about Capclave? Capclave is the convention that the Washington Science Fiction Association programs. And I was there. You can see me there all the way down talking about these same things. And the important thing here is that first time Chile had a special place in an American convention. We had a great time. I'm going to upload some video of that time. And then we have this, the new Chilean SF Society, that could mark a new period, a new era but it's been not too long since creation, so we can't say that. We have to wait more years, I would say, to talk about this period of time. But anyway, so we created this new association. Keep in mind, there were previous Chilean SF Society in the almost golden age time. There was one that was called the Club of Science Fiction. Then, during the dictatorship era, there was another one called So Chief. And then came along another one called Ficcionautas. And then many years with no associations, I think like 10 years with no association. And then this is a new one. It's 2 years old, but we've been doing a lot. And I think it is shaping this new era. This was the first directory. I'm still working there. We're not the same directors nowadays, but we're still working on it, having fun, doing great stuff. And we were recognized by Locust Magazine, which was a great day for us. And this is just a picture to let you know what we do when we get together. So we drink beer and we have some energy drinks. That the green one is the energy drink that was I was drinking. I really like caffeine. I need it to be to be awake as a doctor, I think, and as a writer, of course. But that's about it. So that's what I wanted to tell you about the big. This is the big picture of the Chilean science fiction history. As I mentioned, before I talked about this for more than an hour, but it got deleted. So I hope this one survives. I'm sorry if it's too fast. Might be more fun, I guess. So that's it. We have a nice history, just as a short summary. So we have the first period in 1870s. Then we have the early period with a few books. Then we have the almost golden age. Then we have the times of the dictatorship. And then the 21st century and what's going on today. And we're actually doing quite well, which is fine. And that's my goal, to speak in English about this, because I don't think there are many things about this in English, except for long information. But you can read, but you can watch also this crazy video to have a short summary. And just a little things about me, just to go fast on it. I have a website. And as I said, I'm a physician and I'm an author of science fiction. That's me on my regular life. All the way to the left, you have me at the dermatology consultation visits. In between, you have me during the COVID-19 times, with tough times. And all the way to the left, you have my lovely family, and she's Dani, she's my wife. And there you have Hulky, our dog. Hulky, we call him like that because of the Hulk, who that's really big, but Hulky is really small. Well, the irony. We like the name. Anyway. And I try to do a lot of writing stuff all the time. I try to keep myself active. But this is the first time that I do this crazy thing about recording myself in English. Hope it works. Anyway, so I have published some books. Those are, there you have two of my books. You can check them out. The Más Espacio del que Soñamos is on Amazon. You can find a really nice critique on Goodreads. And it had another comment on Amazing Stories. So it did really cool. And the one on the right, it's my most current novel. It deals with dermatology in science fiction, basically. Interesting, huh? That's happy people with my book. This is the newest one. The name is Adios Loxonauta, Goodbye Loxonaut. What is a loxonaut? Well, that spider is the classic Chilean spider, and the Latin name is Loxocele, so you kind of get the idea, right? It's a very Chilean scientific novel. Spider astronaut, basically. Well, you'll like it, I think. But it's in Spanish. Anyway, as an editor, you can see those two books I have edited, or yeah, they did really cool. Yeah, I don't want to, yeah. It's already 15 minutes, and that was my promise. So those are the two books that I have edited professionally. I'm showing you all my professional work, of course, not all the writings that I have in my computer. Anyway, so as a writer, I try to be friendly with all the smaller publishing houses that I talked to you about, because I think they're doing an awesome job. I truly believe in community rather than competition most of the time. But as an editor, I work with a particular one, which is this one, CH Ediciones. That's our team, and we have Jean is the editor-in-chief. I'm the not editor-in-chief, but I edit science fiction. We have Jorge, the filming guy, and we have Mitchell, the boss. And this, we publish science fiction, horror, fantasy, and we also promote a lot of LGBT community publishing because we believe it's important. And well, I participate in many anthologies. I have been writing since 2008, basically. I really love this. It's my passion. If you want to know more about these books, let me know. I could speak for a long time. Remember, this was a 19-minute video that I'm now trying to save into a shorter one. It's been already 16 minutes anyway. I talk a lot, I think. Well, and this is my current project right now. It makes me really happy. It's my first professional publication in the United States, a dream come true. This book is called Recognize Fascism, edited by Crystal Hab, political science fiction. I really invite you to check their Kickstarter. That's a tough word. Because really cool things are gonna come out of this book. So check it out. It's everywhere. Just just look for Recognize Fascism out there. Well, my short story, it's called October. It deals with the Chilean situation that started in October 2019. So it's gonna be a cool thing to read, I think. That's about it. Okay, so that's me with the Colombian flag, because remember this talk was with the Colombian public originally, but I turned it into this YouTube video. And that's it. So let me stop sharing this. So once again, I hope this was a cool video. I hope I got to tell you about the Chilean science fiction history, a little bit of my work. Once again, I'm still recovering from losing all the original video, but I think it was a divine signal. And well, anyway, just want to see how this works out. I really just wanted to have a video of this to share. I just want to let you know, this is my passion. I really love science fiction. It's what moves me. Of course, I like medicine too, but science fiction and being a writer it's really what fulfills me. So I hope to do more videos like this. Let me know what you think about this one. I know it was fast, but I might do a longer one later on when I learn more about all of this. I hope my microphone's still working. If there's no cut in this video, it means that it worked and I just uploaded it as it is. But I really hope you enjoyed it. I just wanted to give you this small big picture of this. So what else can I say? I invite you to contact me if you want to talk about science fiction written in Spanish, especially in Chile, because that's the one that I know the most. I have been involved with this for the last 12 years, but I also know about some Latin American science fiction, although it's a big big regional place. But I love making community, so feel free to contact me. Find me on Instagram, Facebook. You can email me, visit my website, whatever. And if you want me to say something in another video, a YouTube video, let me know. I'm experimenting with all of this. So I really hope you like this video. Let's see what happens. Bye.